Hi Stampers, it's Super Awesome Stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. In this video, I'll show you how to create this card, so let's get started. My base is Real Red, and I'll start by scoring it at 4 1/4 along the short edge, and then 5 1/2 inches along the long edge. And then we're going to position the cardstock underneath the scoring board. I'm going to try to make sure this is in the window, camera window there. And what I'm doing is lining up the corner of the paper with the edge of the scoring tool behind me, and then the edge of the paper towards the bottom as well. So I'm going to use my scoring board as a guide for where I'm going to place a light score mark diagonally across the paper. Okay, so I'm done with the scoring tool. I'm going to hold that up so you can kind of see what's going on. So the next step would be for you to cut along that diagonal line. Just use your paper snips. And the reason why I'm doing the cutting this way is that it doesn't fit in my paper trimmer the diagonal way. Paper snips takes a long time to cut through, but they're super sharp. They won't leave any kind of fray ends. There, so we've got 2 equal pieces of cardstock. So you can still get 2 cards out of 1 piece of cardstock with this design. All right, so we're only going to assemble 1 card on camera today. So here's our card. And I want it to open this way. So let's flip it around. Fold that back, press down, and then flip this down this way. Okay. So next, let's bring in our pattern paper. The Designer Series paper comes from the Plaid Tidings pack. It's already cut to 6 by 6 size, and it has 12 different designs, and they're double-sided. So if you don't like one side, you might like the other side. Lots of options, especially if you like plaid. So that's the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper pack, and that's in the August to December catalog. So I wanted to share how I cut this down. So my first cut would be at 3 3/4 inches and then at 5 inches. So you get 3 pieces. This piece I did not use anywhere in the card. So just wanted to share that that's the size that we started with. And then this piece we just cut at an angle. So I'm lining up the edge, the corner edges into the cutting groove. Oh, making sure I don't accidentally shift it. Holding down on the guard and then slicing. Okay, and then this piece I'm going to do another cut. So it's already at 2 by 1/4 inches. I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. And then again, we're just going to line up the cut. Actually, I need it to go, yep, I want to cut it this way. I want my pattern going the right way. So I'm lining up the opposite ends into the cutting groove. And then doing a slice. So this piece will go right there. So I've cut enough for 2 cards. So I have to make another card, especially since I cut my card base in 2. And then last would be our base layers. So I've got 2 pieces of Whisper White. So one will go on the inside, and then one will go on the outside, and then Whisper White's measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4. All right, so those 2 pieces right there. So I'm done with my paper trimmer. So let's pull my card back in and see where we're going next. So I've got my Real Red ink pad. And let's do some stamping. So let's work on the front first. So we've got these seeds. And what I did was 1 in the center, and then I just came behind on either side. kind of eyeballing it, making sure it's evenly spaced. And then I knew I wanted to use some ribbon. So my ribbon that I'm using is this stitched white ribbon from the Pampered Pets, Playful Pets suite. And then this orangest ribbon is from the Ornate Garden suite. So I just laid that across my card right there, just so that I can position the sentiment. And the sentiment has got "Hey There Pumpkin" on the stamp. But if you use your Stampin' Write markers on the fat end, you can just color what you want and not do the pumpkin. And then hopefully I'll get it straight since I'm on camera. Pretty good. I got a little bit of, nope, that's not shadowing. I think that's straight. Looks straight. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up if I got it straight. Pretty good. Okay, next we're going to work on the apple pieces. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Got a square right there that I'm going to stamp on. And the first thing I'm going to do is find my block here. So it's just one of our acrylic blocks. And I'm going to put 1 drop of re-inker on there. And then I'm going to spritz it. You don't have to spritz. You can just put some water on there. It's just easier to control the water when it's on my spritz bottle. And then I'm just going to pull off a strip from my glue dot roll. And I'm just going to move that around approximately the size of the apple. So that looks good. Put that right there. And then press down and let some of that ink and water transfer. And then we're going to stamp an apple over it. So you can see my sample card is much lighter than this card. So it just depends on how much water you add and how much movement you do. All right, so we're going to set that aside to dry just for a few minutes while I work on a few more elements. Because if we punch that now, it might tear because that was just water. So we want it to dry a little bit. All right, so we're going to work on this inside piece. And what I need to do is, we're going to wipe off. So I'm just going to grab a clean Kleenex and put some water on there. And I want to wipe off that ink. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. Just a very small dot of ink. And then some re-inker again. I'm just covering it so that the red doesn't go everywhere. And then grab that little piece of glue dot waste paper. And this time I want it just about in the size of that half of an apple. See the splotch on the left side of the paper? You don't want that. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted it over on the right hand side. And pull up. And then grab your apple slice. So the reason why I don't think it looks as nice over here. The apple slice is forcing your eye this way. Whereas if the apple slice is open with the cut end on the right bottom corner, the eye is forced up to here. And this way it's forced off of the card. So it doesn't feel quite right to me. And then we've got some stamping here. So we've got "You Make Me Smile" is going to go right there. There. So maybe I'll use that on the card front. Not sure what I'll do with that yet. All right, so we're going to close this up. And I think we might be ready for some assembling. All right, so this should be, yep, this is dry enough that we can punch that out. Oh, and did I not put it far enough down? No, I did not. Okay, so where is my cutter? Where are my paper snips? Here they are. Just gonna cut a little bit off. There, we're going to get this one out of the way. I'm not going to use that today. Okay, Next, this is the waste, but it certainly can be used for something, not sure what. Okay, next would be coloring our stem and the leaf. So I brought just a couple of Stampin' Write markers over, and I'm okay with having a little bit of the red inker there because it'll just add a little bit of depth and dimension. So I just held it down with my finger and ran some Pear Pizzazz over it. And then on one side, we're just going to put some of the garden green. And then for the stem, I used the soft suede. Something like that looks good. And then the early espresso on one side, just to add a little bit of dimension. Okay, next up would be starting to assemble. So this is going to be the inside piece. And you might want to let that dry a little bit. It's okay. It'll be fine. Before you assemble down, it's not that wet. So that's the inside piece. We're going to flip it shut and grab some of our plaid pieces. Okay. All right. So this is actually going to go over that white, one of the white pieces. I'm going to try to get that centered. And then this is going to go over the bottom of the hay there. And if you stamped your hay there a little lower, just cut your triangle a little smaller. So I am using, the Stampin' Seal Plus. I thought I would get a roll and see how it goes, and looks pretty good. So this is the side that has the ribbon. So I want to make sure the tape gets towards the end because I'm going to wrap the ribbon around. So let's anchor this one down before I get to the ribbon. So I'm just eyeballing left to right, top to bottom, corner to corner to see if it's got a little bit of red peeking out everywhere. All right, let's flip that shut. Did I bone fold that? I'm not sure if I did. If you bone fold it, it'll help it stay down a little better while we are assembling. Okay. All right, now we're going to pull in our ribbons. And we want this peachy color one on the top. So just anchor it along the back wherever the tape is, like that. Run it across, anchor it on the back. Same with the red with the white stitched. Position it where you'd like it and flip it around and anchor it on the tape. There. Okay, so then just take your paper snips and cut that ribbon off. Now, since this ribbon is at an angle on one side, I've got trust issues with it staying tucked behind the paper. So we're just going to put a little bit of tearing tape. Anchor that down and then pull that back up so it can anchor to the card base. There we go. And then I'm just eyeballing top to bottom, left to right, corner to corner, just so that there's a little bit of red poking out everywhere. It's coming together. Okay, what's next? We need to attach our leaf and our stem. So leaf's going to go to the right and stem's going to go in the center. And then I wanted a little bit of dimension on this card. So I use my dimensionals, and I always have them at the top right here. So you can see on my sample card it's kind of bowing, and that's because we put water on the paper. So maybe I'll put a few more dimensionals on there than what I had on the sample. And then last, let me zhuzh some of this stuff out of the way and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have 0 scrap Real Red. So we'll have to mount this on a brand new sheet. I'm going to make a bunch of these cards though, so probably most of this sheet will get used up. I have a ton of scrap, small scraps, like enough to punch little hearts out, but nothing that I can fussy cut. Let's see. I only fussy cut around the apple and not the stem part. So go behind there. It's easier actually to fussy cut with scrap, so I'm gonna have to cut some of this down. Because I'm working with the whole paper and it's providing resistance. Okay, there. I'll be able to fussy cut a little easier. So I just wanted a little bit of backer on this apple. A little bit of red peeking through. And that will go right there. And then my tip for you is just put some adhesive on your flap, not on your apple, because you're going to want to put adhesive on the whole back side, and then you're going to tape it down and go, that's not quite what I need. Oh, I see I don't have some plaid straight. Well, that's going to be how it's going to be, because this Stampin' Seal is pretty sticky. All right, last thing would be to add a little embellishment. I got that right here. I think I put it underneath the pile of paper. These are from the, oh, here we go, right on top of the stamp set. These are from the Wonderful Gems. And I just selected the small one. I'm going to put that right there. There we go. So here's the sample card. And here's the card I just did. All right, I'm going to give you a little catalog tour. Show you where these products are in the catalog. So the Wonderful Gems are in the August to December mini catalog, page 31. So even if you don't buy anything from the Christmas or Halloween or fall themes, you know, the sweets or anything like that, you might want to look at all the embellishments, because the paper or the gems and the ribbons certainly can be used all year round. So that's on page 31. And then the regular catalog products. So I used the Harvest Hello stamp set. Right here's the stamp set. Oops. And then over here's the sample from the concept artist. It has the coordinating punch. Way back here. Where do I have it? Well, we'll get to that page. And then I wanted to point out that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different color collections, and all of the ink pads come with 3 inkers. So that's what I use to create the little watercolor look on the acrylic block. And then I also use our Many Marvelous markers. So I always tell people this is a great half price item. So if you hit the hostess level of having a party at $450, Many Marvelous markers is a good option for that. And then the ribbons that I used are on page 60. So it's number 7, the Ornate Garden Ribbon Combo Pack in terracotta tile. And then I used the Playful Pets, the red and white one. Last would be the punch, the Apple Builder Punch on page 167. So here is the card that we created. So fun little flip card. I've done a little catalog tour, so if you'd like to place an order, go to my blog at superawesomestamper.com. You can access my online store through my blog. And have a good day. Eat some apples and happy stamping. Bye.